Hey, what's up everybody? This is Sweet Shot. I'm bringing you something a little different here again. Today I want to go over drafting for Captain's Mode, which typically you don't want to queue up for Captain's Mode unless you're in a party of 5 and you're looking to play a little more seriously. However, if you do happen to be queuing up with 5 people, whether they be random or friends, or possibly if you're in a private lobby with random people or with friends, then you can play Captain's Mode and it can be a lot of fun. So let me go over the first round bans and picks. As you can see at the bottom of the screen, I have 9 hero icons, some larger than others, and these are basically all heroes that should be within the first round bans or picks. However, as you can see, I have Chen and Enchantress are the smallest out of all of those, and that's because in a pub style game, typically 8 or 9 games out of 10 you don't even see these heroes picked or banned, and that's because they are very difficult to play. They require a lot of micromanagement, which makes them very hard to play and very hard to use to their fullest potential. So you don't always see those picked or banned a lot. However, if you have someone on your team that can play one of these, pick them up. Or if you know that someone on the other team can play one of these heroes very well, then go ahead and ban them out. Otherwise, you can try your luck, and 8 or 9 games out of 10, you're going to be okay without banning them or picking them. Then, as you can see, the 4 largest icons, I believe, are the most important heroes to ban or get first pick with. You have Lycan, Naga Siren, Nature's Prophet, and Darkseer. I think that these are the strongest heroes in the game, and you should try to make sure that they get banned out unless you have first pick. Then you can try to bait the other team into not banning one of them, and then you can pick one of them up for yourself. So if you let's say you want Lycan, you can ban out Naga Siren, Nature's Prophet, and Darkseer, and if the other team doesn't ban Lycan, well then you can pick him up with your first pick. I want to go off on a little bit of a tangent here on Lycan, because there's a lot of debate on whether or not Lycan is overpowered. And in the pub scene, especially, because he can stomp so hard, and I even have been thinking about making a pub stomping video of him, but I feel that might encourage people to play him more often, which I feel like wouldn't be the funnest thing. So I'm kind of holding off right now, still thinking about it. But anyways, I feel like he is overpowered even in the pro scene, because even though it is possible to shut him down, you have to devote so many resources to doing so throughout the entire game. You can't just shut him down for the first 6 minutes of the game and then let him be for the next 10 minutes, because he'll easily catch up. He's one of the fastest farmers in the game, and he can easily dominate a game if you just let him go for 10 minutes. So just a quick tangent on Lycan there. So then the next 3 heroes I have to talk about are very strong heroes. Chaos Knight, Invoker, and Leshrac. However, they are only slightly better than, in my opinion, than some of the other top tier heroes. So I do feel like you could change them or swap them out for some of the other top tier heroes. For example, Tidehunter instead of Chaos Knight, or Templar Assassin instead of Invoker, or Lone Druid instead of Leshrac. Now, one of the most important things is knowing your team before the draft actually begins. So make sure you're talking with your team and trying to figure out what you guys want to do for that game, whether it be a particular strategy or if you just figure out what roles or what heroes everyone on your team plays best. That way you can pick and ban around that. And if you know your enemy team, that can always help too. However, that's not necessary information. Counter picks can be very strong. However, if you don't have a team that's very versatile and highly skilled, that can actually end up backfiring on you because you might not have the best composition. So, at a pub level Captain's Mode game, I would recommend deciding what your strategy is going to be beforehand and sticking to it. So, for example, if your strategy is going to be a heavy push strat and you want to end the game within the first 20 to 30 minutes, and you're going to pick up heroes like Lone Druid, Shadow Shaman, Death Prophet, so on and so forth, stick to that. Or if you want a hard carry and your plan is to win 45 minutes into the game, then you're going to pick something like Anti-Mage and pick up a support to support him in the safe lane, or you could even tri lane, and you're going to hold off for 35 to 45 minutes for him to farm up, and then he can carry you to the end game and you can win. However, just make sure whatever strategy you go with, you stick to that and pick heroes for your strategy, and don't try to compensate for what the other team is doing. If they pick up one or two heroes that you feel counter yours, don't worry about it. Just stick to your strategy, and more likely, if you and your team are comfortable with the heroes that you have and the strategy that you have, then you'll have a higher chance of victory. So once you have that decided, make sure you pick up the heroes that you feel are the most important for your strategy within that first round pick. And then for the second round bans and picks, use your bans to ban out heroes that you feel your opponents might be trying to go after. So if you feel your opponents are going for a heavy push strategy team, try banning out someone like Shadow Shaman or Death Prophet or someone with heavy push like that. And then for your second round picks, just pick up whatever two heroes are last for your strategy and whatever you feel will round it out better. So I really wanted to go over the bans, the picks, and the drafting of Captain's Mode today, because I would like to give it a little more credit than a lot of people do. I feel like I hear a lot that a lot of people think that player skill is all that matters and the drafting just doesn't really matter. But for me, I think it's kind of more around 45 to 50% of the outcome of the game is decided by the drafting, actually. And then, of course, player skill being mostly the rest of that. Of course, there's always a few intangibles that are really hard to narrow down, such as you could say the Dire side has a slight advantage over the Radiant side. But that doesn't necessarily give you such a huge advantage that it completely determines the outcome of the game. So just wanted to give a little more credit to the drafting of a Captain's Mode game. So thank you all for listening. I hope it wasn't a little too visually boring. I didn't know what else to do visually, because I really wanted to point out some of those heroes to you for the drafting. So I hope you all enjoy. Check out my other videos, and I'll see you next time.